made my findings about if I could actually change OSCE centers. And then on the site, I saw I could change. But when I wrote to this institution telling them that site was actually very, very far from me, and it's like 5-hour train journey. It's so long. So I told them I would like to do it in another center, and they refused blatantly. I have to do it in the center and hall. So I started dusting my books, reading again, getting prepared to go for the OSCE the second time. And guys, I went again the second time. This time around, I got the shocker of my life. Hey beautiful people, welcome back again to my channel. This is Succinct Jumi, as you all know. First of all, I want to say a big thank you to those who have subscribed to my channel, like my videos, share my videos, comment on my videos. You people who have been very, very interactive on my channel, I want to say a big thank you to you. You guys are the real motivation. You keep me going. Please don't stop doing that. Please just keep doing that. Thank you very much. So in today's video, it's more like a story of my life, telling you how I failed my midwifery exams in the UK and passing at the final, the very, very last attempt. You can imagine how that is for me, right? So this is what I'm going to be talking to you about today, gisting you guys, telling you how I navigated, everything in between, and what I learned from this particular incident in my life, okay? When I knew I was going to cross from nursing to midwifery, I started, looking around for people who could train me on the OSCE. The first thing I did was I wrote to the HR of my trust, telling them I would like to cross from nursing to midwifery. Initially, my trust wasn't recruiting international midwives, but along the line, they started recruiting, but they were still not recruiting from Nigeria. They were recruiting from other countries like Ghana, Zambia, India, I think, I'm not sure now. But I knew they were not recruiting from Nigeria still because of the red list country stuff. So I had emailed the HR and told them about my interest in crossing from nursing to midwifery. I thought I was going to be able to enjoy the benefits of international nurse. But then the shock I got was that unfortunately they are not able to sponsor me for my midwifery, and they do not want to have anything to do with me crossing to midwifery. And they also told me that if possible, if I feel like this is really what I wanted to do, I could go ahead. They are not stopping me, they are not holding me, but then it is not their due responsibility, to sponsor me from with my ambitions. And I said, okay. So the journey began onto how I was going to get a trainer who was going to train me. In my search for who was going to train me, I know God intentionally, divinely connected me to this my beautiful mom. I call her mom because she's actually like a mother figure to me here in the UK. So I know it was divine. God connected our path, and then I spoke to her about me crossing to nursing to midwifery, and then she she tried all she could. She got me the email of the OSCE facilitator for midwives in my trust, and she told me to mail her and see if there was anything she could do, if I could join the training and all. I was so happy. I mailed this lady, and she was as well happy to train me. She was as well happy for me to join the cohort of midwives she was training at the moment. But then she gave a condition. She told me I must be able to get 3 weeks study leave. Since I was currently working, I should get 3 weeks study leave from my current manager. If that is possible, I could join the other midwives in the training. And I was happy. That's a good option, right? I went to my manager then, and then I spoke to her about my interest. Although before then, I wouldn't say that day, the day I spoke to my manager about me crossing was the very first day she knew about my plans. I told her during my appraisal, because there's this appraisal you do every 12 months. That's like every year after you've been employed in a company, in the trust rather. So I told her during the appraisal, she had told me, in the next 1 year, where do you think you were going to be? And I told her, oh, I'm looking at furthering, getting my midwifery qualifications. Even if I'm not going to leave this world yet, I aim, to have gotten my midwifery qualification, at least have that in bag. And she was like, oh, that's good and all. I would think I have a backing, right? So when it was time for me to request for this study leave, I spoke to her first, because I can't just go to the health rota or the employee online, the rota we use. I can't just request for a study leave just like I would have requested for my annual leave. So I had spoken to her and told her I've been given an option to request for a study leave, 3 weeks study leave, and I will be glad if she's able to give me that just for me to train for my midwifery OSCE. And then my manager told me that I am not yet entitled to a study leave, being that the beginning of that year was when we were also given study leave for my nursing OSCE. So if you're getting me now, it's literally like the same year I got my nursing pin was the same year I wanted to get the study leave. So she said I can't get 2 study leave in a year, so I have to wait for the end of that tax year. You know, the tax year starts from March to April. Is it March to April? April to April. So in NHS. So she had told me I would have to wait till the tax year is finished. So I have to wait till next year, and then she's able to give me. And I was like, oh, I really would like if I get this before so time. And she was like, okay. What she can do for me is that I would wait till February next year, February the following year. So by then she would be able to, she would be more settled to approve my leave. And I do not blame her for giving that response. This is because around the time I requested for study leave, there were lots of people leaving my ward. I think between the space of 1 month, 3 people left my ward. Yeah, 3 people left my ward to another ward. So it's a very tight situation for her. I understood with her, quite all right, I understood with her. But in my mind, I knew I didn't want to wait till February before I write my OSCE exams. I had already written my CBT, my midwifery CBT, I had passed. So, you know, if I'm waiting till next year, February, it's going to be like almost 6 months after I've written my CBT. And another thing that was really getting me into a rush is the fact that I wanted to use my IELTS results. You know, the IELTS results I used to get the employment as a nurse. I was hoping to use my IELTS results to also do my OSCE, because then I didn't know that after 1 year of getting my PIN in the UK, I could actually use that as an English language evidence. I didn't know that as I did. So I was so eager to use my IELTS results. It was going to expire exactly that February, and I didn't want to wait till then. So I was so much in the haste. The moment my manager gave a response, she couldn't give me that study leave. I was so devastated. I was looking for every other means to write my exams. Along the line, I spoke to my friend Victoria, who is an international midwife. As a matter of fact, she is the first international midwife in my trust, and she's from Ghana. I have spoken to her, and I spoke to her, and I told my situation, and she felt for me. She was like, oh, if this is not possible, if you can, you know, find time, I could train you. And she did Midwifery OSCE once. So I was like excited. Oh, what kind of girl is this? Giving me a time. She was willing for me to come to her house whenever she's off duty. She was also willing to do videos with me, you know, WhatsApp videos, and just to put me through the Midwifery OSCE. And I was so happy, guys. I was super happy. For the whole month of November, I didn't pick any extra shifts. I didn't do any bank shift whatsoever. I focused on my main shift, and anytime I was off duty, I checked with Victoria too. If Victoria was off shift, she would call me, I would go to her home, you know, she would train me, and gradually like that. For good 10 days, I trained with Victoria in her home. And then the rest of the days, you know, where I was free those months, I was self-practicing, revising what she had told me and all. You know, because I had done my nursing OSCE before, and by the time when I did nursing OSCE, it was just 6 stations. And to the glory of God, I passed my nursing OSCE once. So it wasn't much of a big deal to me. You know, I was so confident that OSCE, I was going to pass it. It's not, even if it's 10 stations, the things, you know, some of the things we do in nursing OSCE is, some of them are also in the midwifery OSCE, like, you know, the normal assessments, evaluation, a lot of things like that was, you know, in between. So except the core midwifery procedures, you know, such like the breech delivery, postpartum hemorrhage, shoulder dystocia, and a lot of things like that. Those were like the major things I focused on, right? I was just confident I was going to pass. Fast forward to when I was going to, you know, pick my OSCE center. The usual OSCE center I knew, I had tried applying to them, and guess what they all told me? The earliest date I could get was in March. And I was like, what? You know, we have 5 OSCE centers, 2 which are new, and 3 that has been, you know, the Oxford, Northern Ireland, and Northampton, yeah. So those 3 were like the normal center. They are the centers that I've been, and I didn't want to go to a new center. I just wanted to, you know, use the centers people I've known, people I've gone to, so I'll be able to ask about other centers, even if Oxford was not available, because I did my first my nursing OSCE in Oxford. So I couldn't get a date in Northampton, and in the other ones, the earliest was March, ending of March. And I was like, oh my God. My manager had already said she was going to give me study leave for February, which I had declined. And then the earliest date I can even get for OSCE exam is March. So I was so confused. Then I decided to, explore the new centers. And fortunately for me, the new centers, they've got dates available even for December, for January, for February. And I was like, oh, wow. Why am I going to waste my time with these people who do not have dates? And then I settled with one of the new OSCE centers. I had no idea what the pass rate was. I had no idea how they do things, and I did not even have anyone who had gone there before. I just, by faith, I just wanted to go and do what I have to do. I think I prepared well enough for the OSCE. I think I practiced like I'm sleeping with my OSCE notes. I'm waking up reciting my OSCE incantations. Yes, OSCE incantations. I'll call them incantations because when you say palm to palm, finger to finger, this and this, everything you are reciting for OSCE, they are just like incantations. You have to memorize them. So it kept on going until the OSCE exam came. I found my way. It was 5-hour train journey. I traveled 5 hours. I had to travel a day before, slept over, and then the day came and I went for my exams. On my first attempt, the only thing that scared me about the OSCE was my evaluation stage. I thought I didn't finish on time, although I think I wrote everything I should have written, but then more points would have helped me better. So I felt like I didn't give strong points enough, and towards the end I rushed. I just had to rush to sign my name. If you have written everything and you have not signed, it's as good as you haven't done anything. So that was my only fear. I came out of the exam and Victoria was the first person I called. I was, lamenting to her. It went well, but my evaluation, I think I didn't do well enough. And she said, don't worry yourself, you're gonna pass, this, that. Okay. Guys, the first thing that pissed me about this OSCE center was that immediately after the exam, I think like a day after, OSCE result that was supposed to come out in 5 working days, they sent us a mail saying, unfortunately, due to staff sickness and workload, backlogs of OSCE exams that has not been marked, blah, 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 we would have to wait 21 working days. When you do exams like OSCE, you don't have a settled mind until the result is out. So I'm like, so I have to think about this result of, and not even the fact that I knew I had already flopped in a particular station. So I have to wait for an entire 3 to 4 weeks before I can see my results. So all through the period of Christmas, I'll be eating my Christmas chicken or Christmas turkey, and I'll be thinking about results. Are you kidding me? That was the first thing that pissed me off. Guys, 2 days to Christmas, I got my results. Yay! Immediately I saw OSCE result from blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay, let's go. And I checked my results. Guide. I did not just fail 1 station. I did not fail 2. I failed 3 stations out of 10. Out of 10 stations. And you can guess, the station I was actually scared for, I passed it. So the ones I failed my assessment, I failed my planning, I failed my assessment, and also one more, I've forgotten now, honestly. I failed those 3 stations, and guys, I could swear, I could have vouched for myself that those stations I failed, they are actually those stations I gave in my best, because I've been familiar with them right from nursing OSCE. They are like the stations, that are more familiar. And I'm like, what is this? Immediately. And funny thing about this institution is they didn't even tell me what I failed. They didn't tell me what exactly I did to fail. Unlike other OSCE centers, OSCE centers will tell you what you have failed, why you have failed it, what you should do, what you have refused to do, And these people didn't say anything. They just said you have failed assessments, planning, blah, blah, blah. I was like, what? How do I even know what I've done right or what I haven't done right? So I was so sad. I told my friend, and honestly, the first thing that came to my mind was I was so defensive of myself. I took my phone, I sent a very long mail telling them why, what I failed, asking them why I failed those stations, and, arguing how I put in my best, doing everything, and blah, 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 blah. So they responded to me like 4 days later. They almost faulted me for breathing too much. For my assessment, they said that the distance between the thermometer probe and the patient's forehead is not the desired whatever. I need to read more about the distance between the head and, oh my God. And then they also said I didn't do allergy check. I I've sworn with everything. I could have sworn with everything I have that I did allergy check. Because why do I want to give someone a medication and I'm not checking for allergy? You know, the whole scene was like, I could remember this, I said this. I was, you know, recollecting the whole scene in my mind, and I remembered I said it, but then I couldn't just argue for that. I didn't want to argue for that because this is at the essence of camera, right? But because they already said the distance between the probe and the thermometer and the head and this and that, I just felt, even if I argue for allergy check, I'm still going to go back to do the others. I wasn't sure if I did right or wrong. So I started preparing for my exams, and then I booked again. This time around, I didn't want to do it with them. I made my findings, made my findings about if I could actually change OSCE centers, and then on the site I saw I could change. But when I wrote to this institution telling them that site was actually very, very far from me, and it's like 5-hour train journey. It's so long. So I told them I would like to do it in another center, and they refused blatantly. I have to do it in the center and hall. So I started dusting my books, reading again, getting prepared to go for the OSCE the second time. And guys, I went again the second time. This time around, I got the shocker of my life. My meals chart, what they call the meals chart in nursing, in midwifery, it's called meals chart. My meals chart was totally different from what I used to practice. It was a totally different one. I had never seen that particular meals chart before. And I'm like, what is this? I don't even know how this came into being. So that disorientated me for like a couple of seconds. I was trying to navigate through the meals chart and all. I didn't get it. And then I ran out of time. Because of that, I was destabilized. And I think subsequently, even my planning station, I didn't do well. I was just so destabilized. So after 2 weeks or so, and I failed again, guys. This time around, I was so enraged. I was so mad. I just wanted to disappear to that OSCE center and I was so, oh my God. I don't even know how to describe it now. Guys, I cried. It was just too much for me to handle because reality dawned on me. I had just one last attempt, and if I failed that attempt, that was it. I have to start the whole process again, write CBT again, do OSCEs again. Oh my God, it was just a lot on me, and I felt like, what am I going to do? So I wrote to NMC. Yeah, I wrote to NMC. I was about to send my email. I just said, okay, let me read, because on the page, there's a place they tell you to read criteria to which you can make a complaint to NMC about certain OSCE center, blah, blah, blah. And then I read and I realized that you can't make a complaint after your result is out. You can only file for a complaint before the result has been released. So it can help in the investigation process. You know, just before the result has been released, they're able to go along, and if you're meant to pass, hopefully it favors you, you pass. And if by all chance or by all means you are meant to fail, you fail your thing honorably. So they said in the circular, it's a circular? No, it's like a document. Yeah, they said in the document saying, if the result was already out, I cannot make any complaint again. So that was what stopped me. I couldn't send the mail I had planned, I had drafted to send to NMC. Hey guys, thank you for watching the video to this point. The video was a bit longer than I envisaged, so I had to divide it into 2 parts. Kindly click on the link in the description to watch the part 2 of this video, where I finally spoke about how I passed my midwifery OSCE in the UK with prayers, with determination, despite being frustrated. Have you got any questions at all concerning midwifery practice in the UK? Are you trying to cross from nursing to midwifery in the UK? Have you got any challenges? Kindly put them in the comment section and I will be there to respond to you, okay? And do not forget to let me know where you are from. Thank you. Till next time. Bye.